Dead Children's Playground. Maple Hill Cemetery is expansive and well-maintained, a true monument to the countless lives interred there. As the oldest cemetery in Huntsville, Alabama, it's the favorite resting place of the Yellowhammer State's well-to-do, including 5 Alabama governors and 5 U.S. senators. During the day, it's sunny and cheerful, if a tad somber, but when twilight creeps in and the last of the day's warmth seeps from the sodden ground, the souls of dead children come out to play. Nestled on the edge of the sprawling cemetery is a small playground, and when the clock strikes 10 on a dead calm night, the rusty swings creak to life, slides groan under unseen weight, and unearthly giggles sound out over the still cemetery grounds. There are 2 backstories for the aptly named Dead Children's Playground. One state that the souls of children buried in Maple Hill Cemetery are frolicking in the playground. The other is, well, a little more sinister. Legend has it that Alabama's Madison County went through a rash of child abductions in the early 60s. The children were later found discarded in the playground, but the perp was never caught. Nobody's ever claimed to have been attacked by the apparitions, although visitors often leave with stories of ephemeral lights floating around the playground, the spirits of the ghost kids. Hampton Lily Bridge House. Take a stroll down East St. Julian Street in Savannah, Georgia, and you'll likely pass by the most haunted house in Savannah, without a second glance. On the outside, the Hampton Lily Bridge House is softly charming, a well-maintained relic of 18th-century America, complete with a quaint little widow's walk perched on the roof. But its calm exterior belies a savage past. A sailor swinging from a makeshift noose, in a third-story bedroom, the dying gasps of an entire family poisoned by their slaves. An ancient crypt below the foundation, accidentally discovered, and then hastily sealed by terrified workmen. Rumors of the house's grisly past are no doubt embellished by the many ghost tour companies that pepper Savannah, but visitors today still claim to feel an unearthly chill when they cross the threshold. One of the creepiest stories from the Hampton Lily Bridge House involves the past owner, a man named Jim Williams. Williams and several friends were in the house when they heard noises coming from upstairs. The house was still being renovated at the time, and the noises were coming from a room with an open chimney shaft on the 3rd floor. When Williams' friend walked into the room, he felt an invisible force grip his body and drag him toward the open shaft. Only by dropping to the floor did he prevent himself from being flung to his death. Jerome, Arizona. Jerome, Arizona, is a ghost town, but not because it's been abandoned by the living, because it's been taken over by the dead. In the late 1800s, Jerome was a copper boom town, a thriving speck of civilization in the sand-swept hill country of southwestern America. Miners and their families, high on the scent of easy money, poured into the town by the wagon load. But where rough men gather, the bodies are sure to pile up. It wasn't long before Jerome was dubbed the wickedest town in America. A cliché of the lawless American West. Gunfights rang through the streets, mining accidents buried men under tons of rubble, and cheap brothels and Chinese opium dens opened up in the seedier areas of town. Husband's Alley was the hub of Jerome's wheel of decadence, and it's said that the ghostly calls of young girls can still be heard, echoing through the empty streets. One ghost in particular that people claim to see is that of Sammy Dean, a prostitute who was strangled in her bed by a customer. She wanders through homes, looking for her killer, but that's only the tip of Jerome's ectoplasmic iceberg. In a nearby mine, Headless Charlie haunts the dark tunnels, searching for the head that he lost in a freak accident. An abandoned clinic holds hordes of emaciated ghosts who died of the flu in 1917. Nearly every street and byway in Jerome has its own macabre tale to tell. Baker Hotel. Imagine a derelict hotel, long abandoned, with devil-black corridors, leading past line after line of cracked and sagging doors. Sick light filters through the curtained windows, The spacious entrance halls are silent and still but for the fading echoes of your footsteps, and behind you, a little boy's voice whispers, "It hurts, Mommy." That's the Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas, at least, if you believe the stories. Once an opulent getaway for the rich and famous, hard times forced the Baker to close its doors in 1972. Since then, it's become something of a local icon, spurred in part by the tales of the ghosts that walk its halls. The usual suspects include a woman in white who took a dive off the hotel's roof, an aura of suffering and disease in several of the rooms, and a weeping old woman in a wheelchair wailing the phrase "I can't do it," over and over again. Plans are underway to restore the dying hotel to its former glory, so maybe the specters will calm down a little and just learn to enjoy themselves soon. Letchworth Village. Nobody's going to deny that an abandoned mental asylum known for raping and abusing its patients is going to be pretty creepy all on its own, supernatural interlopers or not, but Letchworth Village packs a double punch. Built in New York in 1911, Letchworth was considered one of the most prestigious mental health care facilities in the country. It was the spot where the first polio vaccine was tested in 1950, a fact which should have nailed it a spot in history all on its own, if the test subject hadn't been a mentally challenged 8-year-old boy, who couldn't have given consent even if he'd been asked. As early as the 1920s, rumors were already circulating of the atrocities being committed behind closed doors in the village. In 1921, almost 1,200 patients, most of them small children, were crammed into the severely overpopulated rooms. That's the same year the head physician, Dr. Charles Little, announced that he intended to use the patients in medical experiments. By the 50s, over 4,000 mentally disabled men and women were crowding each other for sleeping space in the hallways. The patients were neglected, many of the women were abused. A cloud of death began to fall over the diseased grounds. The village closed its doors for good in 1996, and since then, reports of ghostly occurrences have made the rounds, children giggling, desks and chairs scraping across the cracked concrete floors, towers of cardboard boxes simply marked deaths. Every visitor reports some unexplained phenomenon at Letchworth Village.